today we're in Las Vegas with Lucky on his fantastic new project. And yes, it is a Tesla, but no, there is no electric drivetrain in it because Lucky has quite a project for us today. Tell us everything about this build.
Oh, awesome. So this is a 2022 Tesla Model 3 that we purchased at COUPE for $11,000. And what we're doing with this is we took out the electric drivetrain and we're going to be sticking in a turbo 2JZ turbo motor out of a Tesla, which is pretty awesome. I think it's going to be great. You know, I love the Tesla Model 3 platform. It's starting to become very, I guess, regular and more affordable. And I think now that EVs are starting to get a little bit cheaper in price, I believe that you're going to start to see more modifications like this. Not saying that everyone's going to pull the drivetrain out of it, but I think that now that it's a fun, affordable, like foundation car, I think you're going to see more fun builds coming out of this.
All right, let's go back to your background. You've done silly conversion, modification, engine swaps in the ICE world,
Yes.
from G-Wagons to Corvettes. And I guess we can't really talk about what's in the background. But how do you end up buying a Tesla and then decide to not only convert it, but make it a race car?
Our thing was for SEMA is we wanted to build something that was a regular car that you see on the road every single day, but make it exciting and something fun that you can build right here in your garage. So right now we're at my house, we're not at my shop, so I don't have all my lifts, all my crazy equipment. It's just a basic car in a basic garage with my basic tools and just building something kind of just fun and extraordinary.
All right, before we go through everything you've done, did you even consider running this as an EV with your original drivetrain?
I did at first, but the problem was I don't think it would be crazy enough. So I wanted to do something that, plus a lot of the stuff I wanted to do, there was no aftermarket parts for.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, let's dive into it. It is shorter. It is most likely going to be lighter.
Oh yeah,
And
it's going to be, even with the engine, all the oil and everything else, it's still going to be 800 pounds lighter than a regular Tesla, even after adding the cage. We cut it in half and we actually shortened it 13 inches. So the wheelbase is exactly 100, I think, and 1 inches long.
Okay.
And so everyone thought that the Model 3 would look kind of weird as a two-door, but as a coupe, I believe it actually looks really sexy. It's got the teardrop shaping from the actual open ducts. So without this roll cage, it looks very nice. Like when everyone saw it, they thought it was a Mercedes coupe, but then when I told people it was a Tesla, they started laughing. We lowered the suspension. I actually found a company, Max Speeding Rods, that gave us all custom trailing arms for this. This was the only company that made all that for a Tesla Model 3, which is pretty shocking. And I still had to modify it to get it this low. So without the battery, it took a lot to get it to where it's setting now. But crazy enough, we're going to still try to have all this done within a week.
Yeah, let's mention this. This will be on a stand at SEMA in exactly 6 days.
At the central hall, this will be at the main opening at SEMA. So back here, we actually cut a hole in it because we have ducting that's going to be set up. Our radiator is actually sitting in these mounts right here. So it'll be cooled through here, center exit exhaust, which the tip's not in there right now because we're going to be sending this thing off to get wrapped here in a few hours. So in the next few hours, we're going to have to paint it, put the motor in, put the roll cage finished up, the seats, everything else, and get it to wrapping within probably about 7 hours.
Do you think you could do this outside of Las Vegas? Or the car culture is strong enough?
Oh,
yeah.
No, I think anybody can do it, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm doing most of the stuff myself. I have a few friends and vendors that are helping me with certain things, but 90% of this came from just me doing it out of my garage. So I think anybody with a garage and a little bit of drive and motivation can do something like this fairly easy, because everybody thinks that SEMA builds are, you got to be rich and you got to have all this money. And the whole purpose of this build is to show people that you don't have to. Like, you could literally, this has all been built by my hands, which you can see they're all chopped up and cut up here in my shop, you know, in 2 months. So all my friends, I won't mention names, but they've been working on their cars for over 1.5 years and they're still not done. And I've gotten this far in 2 months.
So you had no particular training in EV in general. You just went for it, removed the pack. It's relatively straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, I was actually surprised. It was very, you know, like a lot of mechanical or ICE engine motors are over-engineered and it's a lot of headaches. Tesla was very simplistic. It took me literally about 1.5 hours with no experience to take the battery out.
And you could almost do it with white gloves. I mean,
Oh, this is a
no
1,000
oil.
times cleaner than any of the gas engines that I've worked on. Like even that IS 300 motor that we took out, the 2JZ, to rebuild that, I had to degrease it. It took me a whole day just to degrease it. It took me more time to degrease that engine and clean it than it was to drop the battery and strip this Tesla.
All right, you spill the beans. You putting a 2JZ in the Tesla. So not only it's going to be an ICE engine car, but it's a 2JZ with a turbo. So it's the non-turbo 2JZ that you're converted to turbo?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, new rods, piston tops, and it should be around 650 horsepower reliably on pump gas, because I want to make it where we can take it on the track, but then also drive it on the street.
So when you look into it and you see what's left of the car, it's pretty much the shell, because you had to cut everything. The subframe was modified. Obviously, there's a tunnel now for the gearbox and transmission. It's a brand new car. Well, you build it again. You kept the bodywork, and not even, because you implemented a wide body kit on it, didn't you?
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's extra 3.5 inches wider on both sides.
So the body kit is obviously for the electric Tesla. So are you going to have to do mods on the bumper, for instance, like bigger openings for airflow?
No, actually, surprisingly, they made all the ducts. It's just that with this manufacturer, they have coverings for the ducts, and so I just kept them off, and now the air flows through. And to be honest with you, when I showed people this body kit, nobody had any idea that this was for a Tesla Model 3. I'm like, no, this company actually makes these kits, and so hopefully maybe people see it at SEMA and they get that, I can do this to my Tesla and they'll fix it up, because I think if there's more crazy EVs like this walking around, I think that'll kind of encourage more people to get into building them.
And I think it encourages you. You're already thinking about future projects. So I already want to come back in maybe 6 months or a year and see where this journey into EV modification takes you, because off camera, we've been talking about something very exciting. So yeah, we'll be back next year. Let's go back a little bit to the drivetrain and both axles. So you have dedicated suspension. Did you have to do anything to the hubs or anything?
No, actually, I'm using the factory hubs, the factory Tesla axles. I'm using a rear end out of the Lexus IS 300. Basically, it's this junk car that you see right here. We took the motor, the rear end, and everything else. I had the axles mated. It costed me $60 to mate the axles. And so my whole thing is make it simple and easy to use, that if I sold this to you tomorrow, you could literally get the parts at any parts store, not a whole lot of custom fabricated stuff.
Talking about custom stuff, how are you going to solve the issue with the windows and the rooftop?
So all the glass here on the windshield and the back is all factory. We have a Lexan top for the Roadster. So we're getting ready to finish up and do some seam sealer in there. But as far as the corner glass, that's going to fit. All the factory trim still fits. There just won't be any door glass, because when we go to Time Attack and some of the drift events, you're not allowed to have corner glass, because we got to jump out of the car in case we catch on fire. So, but I can possibly, maybe, if we build another one, I'm going to make it a 2-door with all the interior, but I'll need a lot more than 60 days to do that.
So let's talk about this, because your plan for 2025 is to do something crazy like this every month, or maybe every other month, a custom build.
Yeah, we want to do a custom build, something from regular cars that we can showcase on our channel, and something that people can do in their homes. So it won't be crazy expensive cars. It'll be stuff under maybe 10,000 US, maybe 13,000 pounds, and just, could take 30 days, average tools, and build something fun and amazing. But then on top of that, actually sell it and make money on it.
All right. So what is the next step once this is at SEMA? Maybe it won't be completely finished.
Yeah, we unfortunately, we don't have the engine wiring harness. That's still on back order, and a few other things. But our goal is to actually take this to a lot of racetracks, because I want to race this car against other cars, just to show how well the suspension and the frame is going to do with this Tesla, because a lot of people don't realize without the batteries, Teslas are actually really light and the metal they use is strong. So I think this is going to be really capable on the track.
It's a funny anecdote talking about the steel, because I know you struggle to actually cut the frame, or I should not call it the frame, the body, because it's a very hardened steel.
Yeah. I was actually shocked and I was impressed, because with some of the stuff we cut, it sprung back at us and scared us to death, but it just lets us know how rigid the frame is, which is great for racing. I usually don't see stuff like that unless it's in like a supercar.
So Lucky, what was the most challenging part of the build?
You know what's funny? Like, it wasn't cutting it in half. It wasn't building a roll cage. It wasn't doing the wide body kit. It was actually finding aftermarket accessories. With such a popular car, because this has been the #1 selling compact car in the United States, I think, for the last 3 years. There's not a lot of companies that make aftermarket parts for this
Yeah.
thing. I was shocked. All the suspension is brand new. This is the very first car
Wow.
it's on in the United States. And so, you know, I called all these companies and it just kind of blew me away that something this popular all across the world doesn't have more support.
Yeah. So maybe the market is only starting to bloom, or maybe there's no market for it.
No, I think there's definitely a market because I mean, if I could buy this for 10 grand and you could buy a clean title one for 15, I mean, this is our generation Civic.
Exactly.
The kids are going to grow up and they're going to start fixing these things up. You're going to see these all kind of crazy tricked out. So I think the market is slow to catch up. But now that these are more affordable and they're priced where they're supposed to be, I think as the economy picks up in 2025, you're going to start to see a lot more after manufacturing parts for this. And like I said, after having this one and the attention I've gotten so far without even being at SEMA, you know, who knows? Maybe the next time you see me, I'll have an actual electric race one.
So tell me a little bit more about COUPE, because I understand it's not for everyone to be able to buy a car once it's been damaged, but COUPE offers the opportunity to buy a damaged car.
You know, they offer not only damaged cars, but clean title cars as well. And that's one of the things that COUPE wanted to do was, you know, whether you're a master mechanic or you're a regular person, COUPE is here for you. And so the crazy thing is out of all the, you know, YouTubers across the world, they picked me to actually build a car. And unfortunately, they gave me a really bad timeline of 60 days. But, you know, we are supposed to do everything here in this shop, nothing fancy. Like I said, the whole gist was, let's show regular people watching this right home now. Guarantee your garage is not that different than mine. And most of my tools are Harbor Freight tools, or very cheap, affordable tools, you know, and literally everything you see on that car was built and manufactured here, except for the suspension. I got that one from there, but the body, the roll cage, pretty much everything else, you know. I didn't have any of my fancy English wheels, so if anybody's going to roast me in the comment section about the metalwork, I literally was using a hammer and my $50 dolly and our anvil set. So it was definitely complicated, but you know, I think that what we've achieved in 60 days, I think is pretty awesome.
That's quite fantastic. So this is the beginning of a new journey, not just for you, Lucky, but for the whole car world. I think you're going to inspire quite a lot of a younger audience that, you know, they start learning how to drive in an EV. For them, EVs are becoming more and more natural. And they still want to bring their own touch to the car. So it could be with the body kit, but obviously you're going way further than this. And again, you're inspiring maybe a new generation of people that are going to modify their EVs at Tesla. 6 or 7 days until this hits the SEMA show. So the SEMA show opens next Tuesday, but the car has to be there several days before Sunday.
Yes. Yeah, this Sunday, which is about 4 days away. So
there's no way this is finished unless, well, maybe you're going to bring 10 guys to help you, you know, like
nope,
it's my right type of thing.
Yeah, I wish. No, I got one friend actually coming to help me, and we're going to paint this whole thing. My buddy's going to wrap it, and then I got to put it together by myself. So not a lot of time, but we're going to make it happen. And that's pretty much the fun thing about SEMA. It's literally down to the wire.
So once people have seen this at SEMA, where will they be able to see this? Do you know exactly where you're going to take it for racing?
In the actual central open hall, there'll be an opening, a big garage door. I'll be right by it. Right. So it'll be one of the main showcase cars there. We were going to put it in our booth in the North Bay, but unfortunately that's under construction. So the whole north side and the lobby is closed.
Okay.
So everybody has to go in through these big doors in the central hall, but you'll see it outside. It'll be there. I'll be standing by the car most of the time if you guys are around. Come say hi.
And where will you be testing this? At the Las Vegas Speedway, or do you have any other plans as far as other tracks?
Yes, we want to take it to Las Vegas Speedway. There's a drift event that's coming up at the end of November that we're going to take it out to. And eventually, there's, I know, an EV racetrack or EV meet race in Willow Springs I'm going to try to bring it to, just to mess with people, just to see what they say.
I think we forgot to show something, is your handbrake. Do you have it here?
Oh, yes, yes.
Because that's the perfect handbrake for a Tesla.
Yeah, I had to pay homage. So everything ties in with all of our little lightning bolts and stuff like that. My seatbelts that I have coming have lightning bolts, and the wrap itself will have a very colorful and different type of lightning bolt on it, but it's just to show people that this is going to be fun. And when you see it there at SEMA, I won't give it away. There's going to be a lot of Easter eggs on the car.
All right, guys, if you like what you saw today, let us know in the comments below and check out the next video, which will be featuring this car completed again in 5 days from now. Guys, I'll see you in the next one.